Andy Serkis talks about the origins of Snoke with EW. And I thought this was a really interesting article, guys, because obviously he leads us with saying, I can't give you specifics, but he had conversations with J.J. Abrams, and then he would have conversations with Rian Johnson when working on The Last Jedi, and they discussed the origins of this character, discussing how he was older. I did like the insight about his approach to Snoke. He felt like he had scoliosis at the spine. He felt like it was a real labor for this character to walk and to function. Jesse, when you hear that there were developing talks between JJ and Rian Johnson, of course we talk about how there's a little inconsistency between the two movies from a storytelling perspective. What do you think about those conversations? Would you like to be a fly on the wall for those conversations with Andy Serkis and those directors, and maybe seeing how the vision of this character changed between the two directors?
Yeah, 100%, definitely. I definitely, I felt Snoke was very much intimidating in The Force Awakens, and while we see a lot of his Force abilities in The Last Jedi, him donning, the gold robes and everything, he kind of reminded me of Blofeld from James Bond, and it's just kind of I don't know, it's the path that they took with the character, just visually, I think kind of took away from the performance that Andy put on the table and everything. I think if they would have given him more of a Sith, appearance, the black robes and everything, I think that would have been visually more appealing for me. And then, those conversations, I don't know if I would have been able to just been a fly on the wall, because I think I would have had to chimed in,
And that's why you had been asked to leave.
Yeah. That's not a fly, that's a tiny Mandalorian on the wall.
I think I love to hear what you say, and the thing, I don't also want to make an assumption, because I did make an assumption that maybe the vision for Snoke changed between J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, but I think a fan would be led to assume that based on the visuals, like you mentioned. We get this scary hologram guy, and then he ends up being in gold robes. David, let's flip this over to because you read this article about Andy Serkis' comments, and he talks about how there's definitely room to tell an origin story, and he would consider coming back and doing that. At this point, because he got knocked off in Last Jedi, is it too soon to learn about the origin of Snoke? Are we relying on the fact that we can always go back to flesh out a character? Do you think that kind of hurt The Last Jedi?
No, I don't think it's too soon to start looking at him. I think this could potentially be a good time to release a novel or some sort of a series of short clips for YouTube, which we've seen Star Wars do before. Maybe they're not going to release anything because he's Darth Plagueis and he can overcome death and he'll be back in the next movie.
I'm with you on that.
I'm
really still hoping for that, because
it'd be great.
Yeah.
I think they're really... Okay, so this article from Entertainment Weekly has a lovely little video with it where it actually shows Andy Serkis...
doing the mocap?
You're doing the mocap. He's hunched over. He's got the headgear on. And there are three things that run through my mind. The first is, would I look good in one of those motion capture suits?
Definitely.
Definitely. David, your thoughts?
I think you're beautiful on the inside and outside.
Thank you for that diplomatic response.
You have a great hairline.
A second thing that's going through my mind is nothing. There's no point number 2, but bullet point number 3 is I'm just picturing him there sitting like hunched over a little bit, and suddenly, like he did in Black Panther, what is love, baby, don't hurt me. And I love Andy Serkis, and he makes me smile in everything he does, and I want more Andy Serkis. So
I think it's a shame that Andy Serkis doesn't have an Oscar yet for something. Because he has taken that version of acting, that mocap performing, and he has really made that a true art, and there's no one really better at it than him. So
everything from Smeagol to Caesar to Snoke.
My favorite moment with him would have been in the Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey, The Riddles in the Dark.
You mentioned Caesar. It still blows me away that the latest Apes movie didn't get visual effects at the Oscars.
Really?
I'm really surprised by that. Blade Runner won it, which was a visually good movie, but how do you top Planet of the Apes?
Right.
I don't know. That's a different show.
A whole different conversation.
That's a different show. Yeah. It sounds like we're all a fan of Andy, and it sounds like we're all a fan of his work. I think it would be interesting to go and see that origin at some point, maybe more appealing in a novel form, just because of how he was presented in The Last Jedi. My thing about Star Wars storytelling in general is the fact that it began in the middle. It began with 4, 5, and 6, and then you went back and learned the origin of Anakin Skywalker through 1, 2, and 3. So here you are in Last Jedi, and you have the death of Snoke. I guess there's, in Star Wars storytelling, you can always go back and tell that movie, and maybe you make that movie, and then when you rewatch Last Jedi, maybe then it is this great final sonata for the character, but I don't want that to be something that the storytelling group is relying upon. That's just my thought. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. You can watch other videos just like this one right now by checking out these videos on your screen. And by the way, thanks for checking out Beyond the Blast Doors.